Hey guys, and welcome to part 3 of the tutorial for Lost My Pieces from Toradora. And this is the final part, which you guys will be glad to know. So before I start teaching you guys, I'm first going to play what you guys will be able to play after watching this tutorial and practicing for a couple of hours or so. So here goes. Now, I probably had a few errors in there, and that's no surprise since I'll make no secret about it. This is probably the hardest part of the piece. And for those who was also watching part 2, it's fairly similar, except that instead of playing one note at the top with your right hand, you're playing octaves instead, and thus there's a greater margin for error. So again, we'll try and begin this part by playing the right hand first, and we'll start from the 2 notes at the end of the second page. Alright, so there's a B, C, or octaves, then there's a D, G, D. You also know that there's an E there, but I'm kinda lazy, so I just ignore the E. It doesn't really matter because the D, E, G, D and the D, G, D pretty much sound the same, but yeah. So I play the D, G, D, E, D, G, F, D, A, E, D, F, A, D. And you'll notice that all of those were octaves. So even though I'm saying E, I'm actually playing E octave. Then we have A, C, B, E, G, B, C, B, E, G, A, C, B, G, A, D, G, D, what do I play? E, D, G, F, D, A, E, D, A, G, G, D, G, A, F, A, C, A, C, then B, G, B, holding that down for 2 beats, A, D, A, likewise for 2 beats, then a G, E, G. Then for the final part, we play D octave, G, F, D octave again, E, hold down the F for 2 beats, hold down the G for 2 beats, then hold down the F sharp, G, D for 4 beats, but with the little pause sign on top of it, it means we hold it down for longer than we actually should, so around maybe 5, 6 beats. And that was the right hand. Now the left hand, again, is the more complicated part. Your fingers move around the keyboard or the piano more, so you may encounter a few mistakes at the start, but with more practice, it should all be fluent by the end. So what we have is similar to what I did in part 2 for left hand, with just a few minor differences. So first, we'll play the C's. This is at the start of the 3rd page. C, G, C, E, C and G together, then the D's together, A, D, F, D and A, D and A, D, A and F, D, then E's together, B, E, G, E and B, E, E and B, G, 2 D's, A, D, F sharp, D and A, D, A and F sharp, D, 2 C's, G, C, E, C and G, B, G and E, then a G, then 2 D's, A, D, F, D and A, D, A, D, followed by 2 E's, B, E, G. Now you'll have to do a bit of hopping here, but with the pedal the notes will be continuous. So 2 E's, B, E, G, 2 D's, A, D, F, 2 C's, C, E, G, holding the G down since there's a little curvy thing at the top for 2 beats. Then with the treble clef, C, F sharp. Now we hold that down for 2 whole bars, except you can let it go because we'll be using the pedal. And then finally, the final chord of the song for the left hand is G, D, F sharp, with the little pause below it signaling that we hold it down for longer than we actually should, so around 5 to 6 beats. Alright, so that was how it would sound with the left hand. Previously it was how it would sound for the right hand, and at the start was how it would sound all together. Since this is the hardest part, you probably should spend the most time concentrating on this, playing the notes, playing your hands separately at first and trying to be familiar with the notes. And I'll just share a tip with you guys. When I started learning this piece, especially part 3, I found it easiest to try and memorize the notes that I'll have to play on the right and left hand. Now that may seem difficult at first, but when you actually play the notes, it's really hard, for me anyway, to try to get the right notes on the piano whilst looking at the sheets, and sometimes you'll make a few mistakes. So to minimize the mistakes, I like to memorize the notes that I play so I won't have to keep looking up at the sheets. Also, you'll see that with the expression, at the end of the second page, there's a little crescendo, which means you're getting louder. The F at the start of the third page means forte, play it loudly. Then this thing here means we start playing it softly until we reach P, which stands for piano, which means to play the song softly. Now if you want to hear this song in full, I have another YouTube video of this, and there will be a link in the description area. So that has been part 3 of the Lost My Pieces tutorial and the final part of my tutorial. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and sorry for making you look at my dodgy camera work. Since I'm the only guy here, it's kind of hard. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy your piano, keep playing it, and keep learning. And thanks.